Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video from Professional Photographers of Iowa. I'm Jamie, the current president of PPI, and your host here on this little interview with an upcoming speaker at our convention, which is Focus Forward in April, so just about a month away. So I am so excited to have with me today Maddie Peschong, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about her program at our event and all that good stuff. So Maddie, if you would tell everybody who you are and what you do if they've never heard about you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Maddie Peschong. I am a brand photographer based in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I have been a photographer for around 15 years, and I have been doing only brand photography for about 6. And then in 2020, I started doing education and coaching. At the time, like when I first started, it was for creatives, but I have since niched down into working specifically with people who want to go into brand photography.
Nice. That's amazing. So you're kind of neighbors with us. Is your weather over there really nice today too, like it
It
is here?
is today. Yes, yes.
Like
And
65.
I don't think it's gonna last. It's very sad.
Oh no, I go outside and I like sunflower. Like I like look up at the sky and it's
Yes.
just like
You feel like you're
walls
like
on that
coming
move.
back online.
Yes, yeah. Cool. Well, tell us a little bit about your program at Focus Forward.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. I am going to be talking about building an authentic personal brand. This is something that I am so incredibly passionate about because I think that when you build a personal brand, it's something that really comes with you through different iterations of your business. And I've noticed this for myself. Like I started probably how a lot of photographers get started. I started working with kids and families and then kind of pivoted to work more with seniors and then started taking couples and weddings. And now I do brand photography. And because of the brand that I have built, my business has been able to really mostly pretty easily withstand those changes. And now as I have pivoted into, what I'm promoting most of the time through my marketing is my education business, but my photography business is still doing what it needs to do. And I attribute so much of that to the brand that I have built. And I think when we talk about things like personal branding, it's like, well, that's great, but what does it really mean? What goes
Yes.
into a personal brand? Because it does feel like this kind of nebulous thing. And so that's what I'm breaking down in my talk. Like, what are the things that we should really be focusing on that can establish and grow and thrive in your personal brand?
Yeah. Can you touch on a little bit of like what makes a personal brand different or like what might exactly, I don't know, define what that is as opposed to like just opening your doors as a photographer?
Absolutely. The way that I see it, your personal brand is pretty synonymous with your reputation. So it's not something that you have to like create or pull together. There are ways to curate it, I believe. But you have a personal brand, no matter, if you want one or not, you have a personal brand because you have a reputation. And so being able to harness it to grow a business is, I believe, one of the best and fastest ways to kind of accelerate the growth in your business. Because at the end of the day, and this is a phrase that you hear really often in the personal branding space, people trust people. We don't trust logos. We don't trust brands. We don't trust businesses, quote unquote,
Yeah.
but we do trust people. We trust our neighbor who says that Dyson vacuum is the best Dyson vacuum. We trust the influencer who says that that's her favorite top from J. Crew or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we trust. And so when you embrace your personal brand and act as a human first and a business second, people trust you so much faster. And so even when I have clients come to me and they're like, well, eventually I want to have this big agency and I want to have this team and whatever, I always tell them, I'm never going to tell anyone how to build their business because ultimately it has to be, the way that you want to do it and what aligns with you. But I can tell you that even if 10 years from now you want to have a whole corporation, it is going to be easier and faster in the beginning with a personal brand. You can always adjust later on, as many businesses do and have, but starting with your personal brand is like that built-in reputation from the jump.
Yeah. Have you seen a big difference since like AI has been kind of starting to take over
Oh my
some
gosh.
things? Like
This
the
is my
importance of it
favorite.
even more?
This is my favorite topic right now because I will die on this hill that if there was ever I think I say this every year, but if there was ever a time where personal branding was like even more incredibly important, it is right now in 2026 because
Yeah.
there's so much AI content. And I think that we as a society, because of the rise of AI, because of what's going on economically and politically, like for so many reasons, we're sick of the BS and we want real and we want authentic. And that's going to look different for every person who's looking for a creator or looking for a business. And I think that's the part of personal branding that people often struggle with is like the point is you're not going to be palatable for everybody and you have to get okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's never been more important because if you can't look at your content, your marketing, whatever, and say it's so obvious that just me created that. It's so obvious that that came from Maddie's head or Jamie's head or whatever. If
Yeah.
your content doesn't have a backbone in that way and it looks like any other photographer could have posted that, you've got a problem. And I think that that's what a lot of creators and a lot of photographers are looking at right now because they are using AI in their content. And I'm not against that, but we have to do it in a way that puts our brand at the forefront and really allows us to have a brand with a backbone, a brand with a spine.
Yeah, I love that. I talk a lot about when I'm teaching about how like having that kind of deeper meaning, because to be able to use your business as a platform, but you need to have like kind of that deeper meaning behind your brand, and this ties into that so well. Can you touch on a little bit, like if somebody says to you, but I'm not cool enough to have like this online, like my personality is not as cool as, like I can't do the whole online personality thing because I'm just not cool. Do you have a rebuttal for that?
Yeah, I hear that really often. I think that that's it's an easy rebuttal for people to be like, well, I can't because I'm not cool.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody is like, I'm so cool. Like,
Right? I
nobody's
know.
thinking
People say
that.
that to me, and I'm like, no.
I'm just a person. I am just a person. But I think what people don't understand, unless you have started putting yourself out there, is that we're just looking to connect with people. And if you think about your friendships and the people who you follow and the people who you like even look up to, they're probably not doing like maybe some of them have aspirational lives and that type of thing. But I would venture to bet that for the most part, they're just people. And you maybe even see some similarities with yourself in these people. That's what we want to connect with. And so you don't need to like live in a really fancy house. You don't need to have $1 million business. You don't need to have 6 kids. Like you don't have to have anything that is unusual or crazy or whatever about you. You just have to know what makes sense for you to share that you're comfortable with sharing. And that's going to resonate with your ideal person. And it's finding those things of overlap. I always joke that like for me, that is Taylor Swift. It's my love of plants and it's how I make homemade lattes. I'm always like experimenting with different flavors. Like those are kind of my core things that I share that are not related to my work. Those are not exciting things. Those are very like boring white girl, like so exciting. But
Yeah.
I know that my audience has overlap there. I know that they also like Taylor Swift and they want to be better plant moms and they also love caffeine. And so that's the connection point. That's
Sure.
what you're looking for is connection,
Yeah.
not to be better than everyone.
Yeah. And I would say like most people are like you were talking about like boring things that people are interested in, but like most people are pretty boring. I mean, like,
No, we're so bored.
real people are just, like you want to connect with somebody who's like you and like those things, even though they may seem boring, that's what like makes you a real person, so to speak. So yeah. That sounds so awesome. I'm super excited. You're actually kind of kicking off our event in April at Focus Forward. And so I think that's going to be a perfect like jump start to this event because a lot of what the topics being covered are a little bit more on the business heavy side. There's lots of like marketing, SEO, social media. There's photography related courses too, but we really are kind of jumping head on into a lot of this, like building a business that's sustainable and something that you enjoy working in and on, rather than always feeling like you're playing catch up or not really sure. Maybe you don't know who your target audience is. So I think that this is going to be a really awesome kickoff to the event. And I am so excited that you're going to be joining us.
I am so excited. I think it's a topic that there are so many things that encompass personal branding, right? There are things related to marketing and sales and business sustainability and all of that. And so it's always a fun topic to chat about because personal branding is affected by so much. And I think that that's why it's so important.
Yeah. Well, can you tell the viewers and or listeners how they can learn more about you or where they can find you and anything that you might offer for them?
Yeah, definitely. So you can connect with me on Instagram. I am at Maddie Peschong on Instagram. That's also my web address, maddiepeschong.com. If you are interested in getting into brand photography, if that's something that that you've kind of been thinking about, I have a free shot list that I post about on a pretty regular basis, but you can also grab it and at the link in my bio. I can send it to you for show notes as well. So that would be a great thing to get your hands on. But otherwise, I love social media. I love creating content, and I always make sure that while my content is fun, it's also adding value. So would love for people to follow me and join the conversation over there.
Yeah. And also, Maddie has a pretty awesome podcast that I actually listen to. And that's kind of actually how I came about you. So
oh my
tell us a little
gosh.
bit about your podcast.
Yes, my podcast is called Take It Personally. I have been podcasting since, oh gosh, it's 2019. It was right before the pandemic because then I went on kind of a little pandemic hiatus. But in recent years, yes, honestly, I was like, I can't handle this. So in recent years, though, I podcast every week. We have new episodes on Thursdays. I just crossed the 200 mark, which is crazy. If you would have told me, because I was so nervous when I launched this podcast, I'm like, how am I going to have something to talk about every single week? And turns out I have a lot to say. So, over 200 episodes now, and it's all about personal branding. So like I said, that covers a lot of stuff. It's marketing and pricing and sales and branding and so many business related things that go into personal branding. So I have really come to love podcasting. I think it's something that like I said, when I launched it, I was so nervous I wasn't going to have enough to say, or like, are people going to care? Are they going to listen? And I continue to hear from so many people where they say, like, I listen every week, or like, that's, how I got to know you. And it's just the coolest thing. I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like on my podcast, not that I'm pretty candid regardless, but I find that I can be especially candid on my podcast because I'm like, we're besties. Like, you guys know me. And that's really nice.
Yeah. I don't consider myself a brand photographer, so to speak. I do headshots, but not really like I would not say I'm a brand photographer, but I do find a lot of valuable content in your podcast, even though I don't like really identify as that or offer the same service. So definitely go check out Maddie's podcast. And I love Instagram. So I definitely am following people there too, but check out her Instagram and connect ahead of time. And so the event is coming up in just a month. It's April 10 through 13 in Amana, Iowa. So for those of you who are listening or watching, if you have not registered yet and you're interested, you can still do that at ppiowa.com. And we hope to see you all there. Maddie, I'm going to sound off and stop recording, but you stay on for a second, okay? Thank you, everybody, for watching today. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or PP Iowa online. And like I said, find more information and register for Focus Forward at ppiowa.com. Bye.